Hi, I'm Joseph Lewis and I write adventures. And in today's video, I'd like to talk about art. Specifically, how do we use it and where do we get it from? So let's talk about art. The first thing that we need to define are the three types of art that I think we generally tend to use in adventures. And that is cover art, spreads, and spot illustrations. Cover art is exactly what it sounds like. It's the artwork that people see in the cover illustration that shows up on a website. That could be your website or a sale website, some kind of online shop. And this is the first thing that people are going to see that identifies what your adventure is. It helps set the tone. It identifies maybe what the theme is or what the content is. It can give a lot of information very quickly to people who are, again, just scrolling past covers. So it does a lot of work. It's very important in that sense. And there are easy and hard ways to go about doing cover art. Spreads are full page illustrations, and usually these appear somewhere in the middle of your adventure, and they can help set the tone and identify maybe what's going on in the action in the text nearby. But usually, because it's a full page, it is highly detailed, very evocative. Maybe it's a full scene, it's a complex image with lots of characters on it that really helps to illustrate what's going on in the middle of your adventure. I use spreads sometimes, not often. Um, they are effective if you want to add more pages to the length of your adventure. Sometimes, if you're making a print product, it needs to be a certain page length, like a multiple of four. So, if you need to add pages, a full spread illustration is a great way to add to your page length. But as a piece of art, again, it conveys a lot of the tone and the action, and it can convey a lot of detail on a single page. And the third type of illustration is a spot illustration. And usually this is something that's smaller. It can fit half a page, half a column. And usually this is something that I like to use to fill up a page when the text is not long enough and there's white space. And sometimes white space can be good. It helps to let the text breathe. You can space the text out a bit more. It's a little easier to read. But sometimes a room is just very small and it leaves a lot of white space on the page. And it could be helpful or exciting to fill up that white space with a spot illustration, which is usually just some kind of small figure. It's usually not an elaborate illustration. And this is what we often see. The sort of standard would be just a little skull in the corner or a spider or something like that if it's creepy and it's fantasy. That's a little bit tropey at this point. We've all seen a lot of skulls and spiders in the corners of our pages. I've put them there. I think they're perfectly serviceable. If you can come up with something more exciting and more unique for a spot illustration, absolutely, you should do that. I certainly have tried. Um, but it is a good way to fill up the page and get a little more bang for your buck. When someone gets to the bottom of the text and there's white space, you can give them something to help evoke the scene or explain what a creature is, if there's a little illustration of the creature that you've just described in your text. So spot illustrations are a great way to both fill up your pages and convey information to the GM. So we have our three types of art that we might put into our adventure. So let's talk about where we get art from. How do we make art? Where does art come from? So the first option is, of course, no art at all. And you can do a whole adventure with no art in the interior. That's absolutely fine. You can also have a cover that has no artwork on it. Your cover could simply be a blank wall of color, a single color, with the text on it of your title and your name and whatever information you want to put on it. And that can be an artistic choice. It can be very effective. It's obviously incredibly free and incredibly fast to do. Uh, it's not very common these days. Most people are using art over not using art, but it is a choice that's available to you. So you can be thoughtful about whether or not you want to be conveying information with art or you want to be trying to just be very stark and dramatic with just your text. Your second option for art is public domain art. And this is easily found online. There are lots of websites that have clearly identified public domain art, which is not all art online, but just stuff that is clearly identified as such. Usually, this is older artwork, usually before the year 1900, and often the artist is no longer living. But there are huge repositories online of public domain art that you can spend hours and hours going through. I certainly have. And you can select these fantastic artworks from professional illustrators and painters from bygone eras to be your cover art or even your interior art. And I've certainly done this. I started out doing this. So all of my early covers had paintings from, 19th century artists, I think mostly. Uh, and it can be very beautiful. The downside to it is that it's usually very obvious that it's public domain art, that you didn't recently create this as fantasy artwork. So people may spot it, they may have feelings about that. But it is fairly quick to do, although you can spend a lot of time staring at public domain art trying to figure out what you want to use. And it is absolutely free, but you do need to attribute who the artist is and possibly the name of the piece and the year that it was created. But again, that's easily done. And I think that's a good option if you're just starting out and you can find artwork that is you feel is appropriate and effective for your adventure. Your third option for finding artwork is to create it yourself. And sometimes that feels a little daunting if you don't consider yourself an artist. I didn't really when I started doing this, but I've spent a lot of time practicing drawing, and it really is one of those skills that if you just keep putting time into it, you will keep getting better. I found that to be true for most folks that I've talked to. So I've certainly used hand-drawn art, my own personal drawn art, for covers. So I did this redone cover for Saving Saxum. I created this artwork for the Orbital Vampire City. Um, I don't think my art is the greatest, but I like my art, and I think with a little bit of time and effort, you can make the thing that you want to make. Most of the things that I've drawn, that I've put in my own adventures, are things I created in a single sitting, over a course of an hour, or two or three, usually while sitting in front of the TV. So it's not backbreaking labor. I just do it with pencils and pens, and then scan it in. And I think that's a perfectly great choice. I think creating your own artwork creates a bit of a signature for you. It makes it look unique. It also allows you to picture in your head what this creature or what this scene or what this object looks like, and then create your rendition of it. So then the GM who's reading your adventure can see what you think the thing looks like, and then they can describe that to their players. And I think there's a lot of positive benefit to that. So if you have the time and the inclination and the pencils, then I really encourage you to try making your own art. And your fourth option for art is to commission a professional artist to create your art for you. And I've done this many times. I've been doing this since I was creating books and novels back in my Amazon days. Um, this is not difficult to do, but it does take more time and more money. So, what I generally tend to do is I go looking for artists that I'm interested in. And usually there's two ways to do that for me. I'll go on sites like Blue Sky or Instagram, and I'll go looking for artists who are identifying themselves as an artist, and they're presenting their portfolio. And I go looking for art that I like. And if I like it, I reach out to them. Uh, the other way I find artists is I look at published adventures, and I look at art that I like in those adventures, and then you just flip to the front page and see who the artist was, and then I go find that artist. And again, I reach out to them. So, how do you go about reaching out to an artist? What does the interaction look like? Uh, Always identify yourself clearly. Say, my name is Joe Lewis, or insert your name, and explain that you write and publish adventures, and that you're interested in using their artwork or commissioning their artwork for your adventures. If you have a website or you have other published work, absolutely include that information, point them to it, say, this is who I am, and say, I like your art. I would be interested in commissioning you for this project that I'm working on. Maybe describe the project, say, it's a short adventure that's set in a tomb and there's a vampire. And when it comes to money, because money is a factor here, if they have not published on their website or in some way what their commission rates are, you can say, my budget for this project is, $50, $100, $500. Uh, and I'm interested in black and white art. I'm interested in full color art. I'm interested in a full page. I'm interested in a half page. Describe what you want as clearly as you can. Maybe provide the actual dimensions. I want something that's 8.5 by 11 or 5.5 by 8.5, whatever it may be. Be very clear. Explain what you are looking for and what you need. This could be a very long email because you're trying to lay out all of the parameters. And then you say, is this something you're interested in doing? Is this something that we can talk about? And hopefully they get back to you. I send off those emails all the time. Some percentages of the artists don't respond to me at all because they're busy or they're not interested in the project, and that's fine. I don't expect them all to respond. That's absolutely fine. Also, stuff gets lost in email. Sometimes artists will respond to you and they'll say, I'm sorry, I'm very busy right now. I'm not taking commissions. Or they'll say your budget is below, what I'm taking right now. I have higher rates than your budget allows. That's fine. So you need to send out a number of these emails to a number of artists. Don't just find one artist and then hound them and try to get them to work with you. So contact as many of them as you can find. You can send out pretty much the same email to all of them describing your project. And hopefully one or two of them get back to you and they say, yes, I like the project. I like your budget. Here are my rates, or here's my process. And you'll say, great, let's work together. So what to expect when working with an artist. Usually they want you to clearly describe the art that you want created, which usually entails the size, the dimensions, how big of a piece you want, and whether it's color or black and white. If there are figures, human figures or creatures in it, and if so, how many human figures or creatures are in the illustration. And then if you can provide not just a description of what you want, but also examples, like here are some random images I got off the internet, and I want the guy to look like this, and I want the woman to look like this, and I want the dog to look kind of like this, but maybe facing the other way. As the more detail you can provide, the easier it is for them to get an idea of what you have in mind, and they can start work. Generally, then they want to create a sketch. So they'll put together, a pencil sketch of all the images and all the figures, and they'll say, is it this what you want? And then you can look at that and say, yes, that's great. Please continue. Or you could say, no, I don't really like the way that guy looks. Can you make him look scary and make her look strong? And whatever it is you want to tweak about the image, absolutely ask for what you want. This is your commission. It's your money. It's your cover or whatever illustration it might be. So please communicate clearly what you want. And they will usually say, great, got it. I'll go back to work and fix it up. So if you have changes, they'll probably do a second sketch and say, now is it ready? And hopefully you say yes. And then they will proceed to make the final version with inks or colors or whatever it is whatever medium they work in. And then they'll come back to you with the finished piece. Now they may ask you for half payment at front and half at the end. Sometimes folks will just ask for the full payment at the end when they give you the full high resolution image. So you'll work that out during your conversation. So be prepared that there may be different expectations for how payment works. And at that point, you have this beautiful piece of commissioned art, which hopefully you're very pleased with, and you can use for your adventure. Just make sure that you credit the artist the way the artist wishes to be. So you should ask them, how do you want your name to appear in the finished publication? How do you want your name spelled? Do you want your email? Do you want your website? How do you want to be attributed? And then just do that in your adventure, in your published document. There's one last thing we need to talk about on the subject of art, and that is AI art. And my personal stance on AI art is that I do not use it, and I do not support it, and I don't think you should use it either. And my objections are the ones you've probably heard lots of people make. Number one, AI art does not create art out of nothing. It does it by scanning existing artwork, which it then does not credit, and it definitely does not pay those artists. And you might think that's not a big deal if it's an established artist or a rich artist, and you want to ape the style of someone like Mike Mignola, and you think, well, I couldn't afford him, so this seems fair, which it's not even for someone successful. But it's even worse for folks who aren't successful yet, young artists who are very talented and are working very hard and are trying to create a career in art. You discover their portfolio. You say, oh, I like this art style, but I don't have the money to pay them. So then you ask AI, hey, go copy their art, create new art in their style. And then you've effectively stolen their work still. They've done labor to create their art, their style. And they're in no way getting any kind of attribution or payment for their work while you create something from it. So I don't support that, because I do support artists and paying artists fairly and keeping that tradition alive. And also, if we think about where this leads, I don't like the idea that a generation from now, no one is creating their own art anymore, because everyone has grown up with the idea that you can just ask the computer to make art. Which means, number one, that the skills for creating art become some kind of niche cottage industry that barely exists. And no new art styles are being created because everyone's just scanning old art to create new art. So my feeling is I don't like the way that sounds, and maybe I'm just a grumpy old man who likes the way things were. But I love creating art, and I love supporting people who create art. So the idea of computers stealing art or work from artists rubs me the wrong way, and I don't support that at all. Number two, my understanding is that the computers that generate AI anything consume massive amounts of electricity and become very hot. So they also consume massive amounts of water just to run, which is awful. That's a huge waste of resources. Um, so I don't like that at all. And lastly, from what I've seen on Reddit mostly, uh, people talk about how they have spent hours and hours and hours trying to change the prompts for to make the art, the AI generate the art that they want, um, and they're very proud of their prompts. Uh, but those are hours you could have spent just drawing the right art, the art the first way. You went through hundreds of iterations trying to get the fingers to come out looking like fingers. You could just learn to draw fingers, and then you have a skill that no one can take away. Um, which is also leads back to the sort of stranger problem, which is uh, apparently folks can get very good at making prompts for a version of an AI, and then they upgrade the software or they tweak the software, and now your prompts don't work anymore. So your skill in talking to the computer has been lost, and you have to start over. All of that seems weird and scary. It's like software as a service. The idea of paying for software that can then change and be taken away from you, and I don't like that either. I like to have my tools and have my skills, and know I can rely on them here in my little office. So I would rather have my pencils and the ability to draw than to be relying on a computer that I don't have any control over to try to make my art for me, especially if it's going to take huge amounts of time. Also, a lot of people can still identify that AI art is AI, and that it doesn't look that good if you start to look at it closely and carefully. So I could probably keep ranting, and I don't want to rant and sound like the old man who's grumpy, but I personally do not like or support or use AI art. So, real quick, let's review. We have cover art, full spread art, and spot illustrations as the types of art that you might consider putting in your adventure. And then for getting your art, there's the choice to not use any art, which is questionable. I think most people expect a lot of art at this point. You can create your own art, you can find public domain art, and you can commission professional art, which are all great options. I've used all of them in different ways. I encourage you to explore those options and figure out what it is you really want for your adventure to help really bring it to life with artwork. Um, and I think if you think about what you want and then go and pursue what you want, you'll end up with a much better product, and you'll be proud of it, and it'll be more exciting for everyone when they get to read it and see the artwork alongside your words. And I think that's about all the advice I have for art. So good luck out there.